Hey, this is Mr. Hansen. I wanted to do an equation review with you. This will be helpful to the rest of the unit when you're doing literal equations and formulas, and when you're doing inequalities. There are some big concepts that flow throughout this unit. So hopefully this will help you get started with that. Let's take a look at this very basic equation, x equals 6, and I want to do some things to that equation. What if we added 4 to both sides? We'd have x plus 4 now equals 10. And then maybe after that we multiplied both sides by 3. So we've got 3x plus 4 equals 10 times 3. I'm going to rewrite that. 3 times the quantity x plus 4 equals 30. And last, maybe we want to divide by 2. So we end up with 3 times the quantity x plus 4 over 2 equals 15. Okay, so this down here, this is quite a bit more complex than up here. We really build a lot up around our variable x. And so if we wanted to start from this point and solve for x, we would have to unbuild or deconstruct everything we constructed. And you're going to want to do this kind of in the opposite order that you did it in, and you're going to use inverse properties. So let's see what we can do here. Remember, the last thing we did was divide by 2. So I'm going to times both sides by 2 and just see what happens here. So I got a 2 here and a 2 here, and I'm going to rewrite that. These 2's cancel out. So we got 3 times x plus 4 now equals 30. Notice that gives us the previous step, 3 times x plus 4 equals 30. And let's take away, let's get rid of the, let's see, the second to last thing we did was times or multiply by 3. So let's divide by 3 here. There's 3 of those x plus 4s. If we divide by 3, there'll just be one of them. And divide by 3 here. So we get x plus 4 now equals 10. And then we can do the very last thing. We're going to subtract 4. That's the first thing we did to x. And subtract 4. And we're back to x equals 6. So over here in the corner, I have this idea of order of operations. When we're evaluating an expression with a variable in it, we just do what's in parentheses first, exponent second, multiply, divide third, add and subtract fourth. But when we're solving an equation, we're undoing things, so it's the opposite order. You're going to add and subtract first, multiply, divide second, exponents third, and parentheses fourth. Okay, let's take a look at this problem I have on the right here. This 3 times the quantity x plus 4 minus 1 equals 17. What is the very first thing, if we just ignore the 17 for a minute, just look at this expression right here. What is the very first thing that we did to x? Did we multiply by 3, add 4, or subtract 1? Well, if you said add 4, you're right. It's in parentheses. So we know just by looking at that that's the first thing we did. And the second thing is, was it multiplying or subtraction? Well, multiplying comes first, and then subtraction. So I'm just going to kind of write down the steps here. Step 1, we added 4. Step 2, we times by 3. And step 3, we subtracted 1. Okay? Now we're kind of going downward, 1, 2, 3. We've got to go in the reverse order, just like in the graphic up in the right-hand corner here. So let's start with the third thing we did. We subtracted 1. Let's get rid of the subtract 1 with add 1. So I'm going to call this step 1 down here now. We're going to add 1 to both sides. So plus 1 and plus 1. Now I'm going to rewrite it. 3 times the quantity x plus 4 equals 18. Step 2, we times by 3, so we have to undo that. So this will be our step 2 now, and undo a times with a divide. So divide by 3. divide by 3, and we get x plus 4 equals 6. And we have one last step here. We added 4, so we're going to have to subtract 4. Subtract 4 on both sides. So minus 4 here, minus 4 there, and we've got x equals 2. So we use the reverse order of operations and inverse properties to solve for x, to see what x is originally. Now if you wanted to make sure your answer was right, you'd plug 2 back in up there. And 2 plus 4 is 6. We add first, and 6 times 3 is 18, and 18 minus 1 is 17. Let's try one more, and then we're going to call it good. So this time I'm going to take, I'm going to give you another kind of example of how you might think of this. X is a little birthday present for your sister or brother, and you are going to put it in a box. So putting it in a box, let's just say that's the first thing we do to it. You know, when you wrap a present, you put it in the box. So we're going to do that first. And then we are going to wrap it up. So that's the second thing we're doing to it. And then we're going to put a ribbon around it. So this is the third thing that we're doing to X. And that equals 7. Okay. So just a reminder here, the first thing we did to X, we're kind of putting it in a box. We're timesing by 3. And the second thing we did, we subtracted 1. That's kind of like wrapping it up. And the third thing we did, we divide by 2. That's kind of like putting the bow on it. Now you hand this present over to your friend. They want to know what X is, or your little brother or sister. So they have to undo these things, and they have to undo them in the correct order. So we did 1, 2, 3. We have to undo the ribbon first. So 3 is like our first step now. And we're going to undo a divide by 2 with a times 2. So I'm going to put a 2 over here and a 2 over here. And these cancel out. We got 3x minus 1 is 14. And the second thing we did was subtract 1. It's like we were putting wrap on the box. So we're going to take off the wrap. Second thing we need to take off the wrap. We're going to add 1. So plus 1 and plus 1. We got 3x now equals 15. And the first thing we did is put it in the box. So the very last thing we're going to do is take it out of the box. So we're going to divide by 3. That's an inverse operation with multiplication. So we divide by 3, and x equals 5. So there's maybe just one more way to think about it. We're just undoing what we've already done to x using inverse operations. I hope this helps, and have a good day. Signing out, this is Mr. Hansen.